Okay, so today I'm doing a juicy bite of Roslyn and Kaikoria. This is where the cable car would have come, and then went behind that fence. So cars use it now. So yeah, this part is the only bit left. It operated from 1906 to 1951. So down that road there was a cable car that went to just the end of that road until 1900, but then it was extended up this street and over into Kaikoria Valley, but not by the route that we see. So this was a replacement of the original route, which was condemned, and it was the only ever cable car that has been condemned in New Zealand. And it was condemned because the Public Works Department thought it was unsafe. So we are going to follow where this condemned street cable car route was. There is Mount Cargill up there. Went past this house, but up here is the first house ever in Roslyn, and it was the street, which is now called Lundy Street, was originally called Brown Street after the owner of this first house. So we're gonna go check it out. So it's this house in here, first ever house in Roslyn. Hard to see, they've got nice trees, but there it is. First ever house in Roslyn. Oh, it's so nice. That's so pretty. Okay, back this way. So a little bit of history about that house. It was shipped prefabricated from Australia. It was originally the Waimate Mission House, but it was erected here in 1858 when the area was called Roslyn Hill, and they spelt Roslyn with 2 S's, but that's disappeared. Now it's just spelt with 1 S, and it's not called Roslyn Hill, just Roslyn. So we love to shorten things down, I guess. So this corner right here was why the cable car failed its safety test, because of the extreme steep drop. So down Falcon Street we go. Can't imagine a cable car being able to get run over. Can't imagine a cable car being able to go down there. Look how steep it is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can see why it failed. So you'll see such a big cutting, you know, not needed for just steps. And that is the only reminder left of this cable car route that never operated, but they obviously cut out a road for it. So I'm pretty sure those 2 brick buildings there were the old cable car sheds, and there's a track, the Fraser Bush gully track that goes up that little bit there, is now the 2 rails from this line form the footbridge on the track. those buildings that I just showed were some more cable car sheds, but they were part of the Stewart Street line, which stopped running in 1947. Oh. No. You're pretty, aren't you? Bye bye, kitty. Bye. There's some definite grey clouds. Grey, sunny. But it's fine if it starts raining because I brought my raincoat. Nothing can stop me. Literally 2 seconds after I said that, it starts raining. Like, I think I jinxed it, but yeah, it's fine, got my raincoat on. So that archway was actually put there for to commemorate the past pupils that went to, oh my gosh, I'm getting rained on. I'm just gonna kneel down. It was to commemorate the past pupils that went to the Kaikoria school, that went to World War, the First World War, and it was built in 1921 as the main entrance to the school building. But that building no longer exists because it was built out of old bluestone, and it was taken down in 1969, and it was the last of Dunedin's bluestone schools to be replaced. I guess they just didn't last. So these streets that I'm walking down now seem pretty quiet, but back like 50 years ago, these streets were very busy because before the Stewart Street extension, these streets were the main way to get up to up the hill from the Octagon. So they were very busy. So those two buildings are the Edwardian twins. They have both near perfect turrets, which is really cool. They were built around 1905 by Andrew Lees, of a former predominant decorating firm, apparently as wedding presents for his daughters Catherine and Annie. Andrew Lees' firm is no longer, but this pair of grand homes remain as a reminder of a very affluent Dunedin era. That building up there is Claremont House. It's been a long established rest home. So it was formerly called Melrose House. It was built at the turn of the century for a prominent business family, the Glendinans. For a quiet residential street, Melrose has a number of imposing power poles. Walking down the right footpath after the third square one, the next is even more distinctive, a 15-sided example. Square power poles. Don't really understand why that's interesting, but it is apparently. This one has apparently 15 sides. A bit ridiculous. Here's another 15-sided one, or Just, I don't know how many sides, but still standing. Look at that. It's sunny again. Wow. You really just don't know of Dunedin weather. That house got a tower. You can see the Edwardian twins. One of their towers just up there. Number 32. Look how big those trees are. And the house is grand. Can't really see it, but look at that. So this house, 50 years ago, had a little twin up this driveway, which is now no longer there. The house is no longer there. And the driveway leads up to a soccer field. So we're gonna walk up the driveway of this grand house that used to be here 60 years ago. It was the Governor General's Dunedin's residence, and we're here. So Littlebourne House used to sit about where the centre line of the soccer field is. It's been levelled since the house was here, so it looks quite different. But imagine that. One last thing survives. These are the horse stables. The house used to have pretty grand horse stables. So this house was built in 1890 by John Roberts, who was a wealthy businessman and the mayor of Dunedin at that time. So imagine a mansion of 30 rooms set in more than 4 acres of gardens, trees and native bush, with of course outstanding views of both the city and the harbour, and even a porter's lodge at the main entrance. A house and grounds fit indeed for a Governor General. So in 1934, when Sir John Roberts died, and the Littlebourne House and grounds were gifted to the city for the Governor General's use when he was in the south. But the government refused to furnish it, and not only was it never used by any Governor General, but the City Council couldn't find an alternate use for it. In later years of World War II, the military used it, as did Dutch immigrants from Indonesia. And finally, it served as a student hostel. So before that street, just there, Stewart Street, existed, they only had Albert Street, which went just up to Moana Pool, and then there was the cable cars that went over the hill. Littlebourne House stood far enough off the new road line to have avoided demolition in more enlightened times, but in the late 1940s the council required 50,000 cubic yards of fill for their road project, so in less than a generation the mostly brick Littlebourne House went from one of the city's grandest properties and the Governor General's residence in waiting to mostly landfill. Dunedin did not get a new sports ground as a result. So it was called Littlebourne because in a village in Kent, England, just east of Canterbury, early Otago surveyor Charles Kettle originally owned all of this area, and his wife Amelia came from that part of Kent. John Roberts married one of their daughters, so Littlebourne, I don't actually understand that. How is it Littlebourne? Somehow it got called Littlebourne. Now we're going to go up to a seat which was made for Crosby Morris, who was a local businessman, and benefactor who served 32 years in the Dunedin Amenities Society, 17 as president, later as patron, and we can thank him for the many trees that line the city streets. Until his death in 1950, he lived on the hill behind this seat. And there's a seat just there, so he lived somewhere up there. Chips, a little snack time before we carry on. You can see the remainder of some tram lines along this road. Can you believe that this is a road? Looks like a footpath. I want to just walk on it, but it's actually a road. So this part of Ross Street used to be called the Junction because New Zealand's first electric tram, the Roslyn tram, met the Roslyn cable car. And this was not only New Zealand's first electric cable car, but also the southern hemisphere's first. And now there is no more, which is sad. So that's the golf course, Dunedin Course Clubhouse, and it's the highest point on the Tower Belt at 180 metres above sea level. Doesn't sound very high, but it's the highest point. Chimney could be one of the last standalone house chimneys, although it has some steel supports now. This corner shop used to be the corner grocer and the corner dairy, and they actually had 12 people employed here. And they did bagging of bulk goods and dispatching of home deliveries were both done underneath the roller door, which right there. And they even had a paddock nearby for horses, delivery horses. That's so cool. And we're finished. That's the end of Roslyn, Kaikoria little walk. Really enjoyed that. Very, very nice area. Lots of very, very old villa-y houses, but it's super nice. And so now, just have to wait for the next one.